Hey, what is going on, everybody? Happy Monday afternoon, Facebook, cyberspace. I hope you all are doing well. This is your man Marcus, and this is another session, another edition of Motivational Moments with Dr. Marcus. That's just something I wanted to brand the show with. I don't call myself Dr. Marcus, even though I do have a doctorate that I actually went out and earned and had to write a dissertation for. But that doesn't mean much of anything. People are surprised, and this happened to me yesterday, happens to me all the time, and this is not what we're talking about today. But people call me doctor, or people find out that when I actually have a doctorate, and they're real surprised when I meet people, and it'll be weeks later, and I will not have referred to myself as doctor, or I will have not said anything about my actually having a doctorate degree. And the people are surprised, like, man, I didn't know you had your doctorate, man. I've been calling you Marcus all this time, man. I should have been calling you doctor. No, that's not necessary. You don't have to call me doctor. You'll see it on my publications. You'll see it on my email signature. You'll see it on different things or whatever. But just to conjure up memories of coming to America, and in celebration and memory of the late great Muhammad Ali, I'm just gonna say this: my mama called me Marcus, and I'm gonna call myself Marcus. So those of you who know that great classic know exactly what that means. But like I said, my mama called me Marcus. I'm gonna call myself Marcus. That's all you need to really know. If you want to call me doctor, that's fine. Want to call me Reverend, that's fine too. Just don't call me out my name, and don't call me late for dinner, all right? But anyway, let's go on with the broadcast today. I pray you all have had a great start to your week thus far. I know that I have. And because I did not do a broadcast on Friday, I have two topics. Usually if I have two topics, they're somehow related to each other in some kind of way. But today, that is not the case. The two topics I have are totally unrelated, and we're just going to go into it and see what you think about them, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the replay. The first topic, I just want to ask a question, because this is something I've been struggling with for a while. How do you get enough exercise, and you're able to get your work done, and you're able to get all the sleep that you need, and you're able to spend quality time with your spouse if you're married? How are you able to balance those four things? And I'm asking the question because I'm not going to come to you as a guru right now, and I'm not going to come to you as someone who has solutions for this particular question right now. I'm coming to you in the form of a question because I really don't know. I've been struggling in that area. As a lot of you know, I have been struggling mightily in the area of physical fitness. My physical fitness kind of fell off the map right after I got married, and I haven't been able to really get back on track for an extended period of time since then. And coming up June 14th, I will have been married 8 years. And so basically, I've been struggling with my physical fitness for about the past 7.5 years, and that's nobody else's fault but my own. But really, my issue has been I have found myself in recent years unable to really balance all those aspects of my life in such a way where if I try to focus on one area, if I try to get back into the swing of things in terms of my fitness, in terms of really getting my physical body right, then it seems like other areas of my life fall off. And my schedule is super vulnerable to the point where if something happens to kind of knock me off my square a little bit, schedule-wise, and it's kind of hard to pick it back up. Some of you know I was really making a concerted effort starting out in 2016 to take care of my health at a higher level than I had been up until this point. And I had been doing okay with that up until early March, when those of you may know, my daughter, my youngest daughter, Jada, has autism, and some of those symptoms of autism started to kind of rear the ugly head as far as the symptoms and different things waking her up in the middle of the night. She had been going to bed regularly, and she had been staying in bed for quite a while. And those of you with small children know how much of a blessing it is when your children finally get to the point where they're staying in bed for a good amount of time, and they're not waking up every couple hours. I know you young parents understand exactly how important that is. And so that was really a big thing for us. Not only both of our girls getting in bed every night and staying in their beds, but no longer being in our beds every night, and them sleeping through the night. That had been a big thing. So I was getting back to a pretty good rhythm with my physical fitness, and then that kind of fell off when my daughter Jada started waking up at 1, 2 in the morning, and would stay up 3 or 4 hours up until almost it was time to, get up and start the next day. And so that really knocked me off my square, to the point where I was unable to work out the way that I needed to, the way that I am accustomed to doing in the morning. Some of you are morning people like me. You like to go ahead, you like to get started, you like to get it cracking early. That is the case with me. I like to get my work in as early, my workout in as early as possible. I know that if I don't get it in early, then the likelihood of my working out later on in the day is pretty much next to zero, because once the day gets started, you just have commitments that fill up your day, and that's definitely an issue that I have had over the past several years. I remember back when I had first met my wife. Actually, I was working out in the afternoon after work, because I was actually I was going to school. I was getting my MDiv at the time, and so at 23, 24, 25, and 26 years of age, I had the kind of energy where I could just go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, and even after night classes and evening classes, still stay up to about 1 or 2 in the morning doing homework, and then even at work during some of the off time that I had, some of the downtime that I had, I was also doing some work when I got into my Greek classes and things like that, because that Greek was kicking my butt, to the point where I knew that I had to try to fit that in during the day, if at all possible, because I knew that sometimes I was going to be too tired to try to do it all at night. So that was my reality, back in 2007, when I was meeting my wife, when I was falling in love with her. I was able to, leave the workplace at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, 3:30, just depending on what kind of assignment I was on. And I would go straight to the gym, go work out, go get some dinner, and go straight to class, and just do that over and over again. But as the years went by, as things changed, I wasn't able to do that as much, and I knew that going in the morning was something that was going to be better for me. But just over these recent years, I don't know if it's just losing grip on my time management, or whatever it is, but just that not being able to go in the morning has really made me vulnerable, and I'm really just trying to get back to that. And those of you who are listening live, and those of you who may be watching this recording later, I would love to hear your feedback about what you do personally to fit all those areas of your life in. 'Cause I know if I'm working out the way that I need to, it causes me to not necessarily get as much sleep as I want to get, because just because of the way our family structure is working right now, to be able to really wake up, it would be my preference to to be on the Dr. Eric Thomas plan and wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, because he talks about how his life changed when he began to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he realized that his ability to get a whole day's worth of work done before a lot of people even woke up in the morning. He knew that was going to put him in a place where he was going to be able to excel and to soar above other people. Not necessarily that he was in competition with other people, but just the simple fact that he knew that he might not have had the same ability as everybody, but he knew that if he worked harder, and what he likes to say is if he beats somebody to the spot, if he gets to the spot before they get to the spot, so basically if he is able to accomplish what he needs to accomplish, and his speed of implementation is on such a level where that is higher than that of other people who might be of greater ability and greater acumen, that at the end of the day, he's still going to win. And so I experienced that myself when I was writing my book, Rebuild, a 12-part framework for rejuvenating and restoring the burnt-out pastor. When I was writing that book, I'm talking about from outline and conception to publication, to availability in Amazon within 90 days from start to finish, getting up at 3 o'clock every morning and writing until 8 before the day started. When I was doing that, I was functioning at a high level professionally, but there were other things, and I'm not going to get into them right now. This is not the time for that, but perhaps when I'm on the other side of the struggle, I would love to share with you all how my triumph in that personal area, that professional area, really hindered me personally, and caused me to really have to take a step back with some of the other priorities, some higher priorities actually in my life. But that's another story for another day, unfortunately. But what I'm just wondering is, how do you all handle it? How do you get enough sleep in when you have a spouse that you want to spend time with? You have kids that need to go to bed at a certain time. You have work that needs to be done. And you're trying to make sure that you are physically fit. Those are really the areas of my life, and of course you put your relationship with God in there as well. Your devotional time, your study time as far as the Word of God, your time as far as which you have devoted to spending time with God. Of course, that is in there as well. That's the umbrella over all the other aspects and all the other issues. That's why I did not list it there as the fifth issue or the first of 5, however you want to list that. But just want to ask you, how do you do that? I'm really asking the question. This is not rhetorical. Those of you who may be watching this, I would just love to hear your feedback on that. That would be greatly appreciated. So whatever you have to say on that, you can leave a comment here. You can leave a comment on this post when you watch it later, what have you. Just I would just greatly appreciate that. And the second topic I want to get to is to something I was watching yesterday. I just want to ask you the question: have you ever left a comfortable position or a prominent position off of the mere potential of becoming greater, of doing even better? Have you ever left a position, you had a high position, and you left that position, you left the notoriety, the comfort that position gave, and you left all of that for the mere potential of becoming greater? Were you scared? What did you do about that? I'm asking that because I was watching a YouTube video. I was watching a YouTube video the other day from a trainer, Mike Vacanti, and those of you who are in the entrepreneur space, you might recognize that name of Mike Vacanti because he has been the personal trainer of Gary Vaynerchuk, whom all of us in the entrepreneur space know, because he he's been training him every single day. He's been his personal trainer. Has been with him every single day wherever he's gone for the past year. And he's been talking about it publicly over the last few weeks because this is a time of transition for him. He's transitioning out of that role, and he's transitioning someone else into that particular role because he signed up to be with Gary Vee for 1 year. That 1 year is over, and it's time to hand over the reins. And he's been talking about this for a while because he did a video about this probably a month, maybe even a couple months ago. Why it's just called "Why I'm Leaving Gary Vee," and it's because some people can speculate and they can say, "Well, man, it must not have been a great relationship. Gary must be hard to work with, or something like that." So Mike is leaving him as his personal trainer, whereas that's not really the case at all. Mike only signed up to be Gary Vee's trainer for 1 year because he knew that the time commitment was going to be such that it was going to be hard for him to continue on that year, and he wanted to take that time that he was working with Gary and start executing, and this is in his own words, start executing on the vision that he has for his own life moving forward. And he knows that the extra time that's going to be given back to him by transitioning out of this role as Gary Vee's personal trainer is something that's going to be very valuable to him. And so he talked about that. He talked about it with a good deal of confidence, and he talked about it with a good deal of comfort and security about the decision that he was making to do that. But as time has gone on, I guess he has admitted that he started to have some trepidation about that. He came out with a video that came out after the one that I just spoke about, where he's basically saying that he's honestly having second thoughts about the decision to leave Gary Vee. There are definitely some advantages that have come with the notoriety of being the personal trainer of Gary Vee. It's definitely helped his notoriety, has helped his brand, has helped him in a lot of other areas. And he has been fearful, increasingly fearful that now leaving out from under the umbrella of Gary Vee, he's going to start to be he's starting to be fearful about what the next steps are in his life. He's saying that he wants to execute on the vision that he has for his life, and he wants to go on and do that which he is called to do, and he wants to do it at a greater level. But it's difficult for him, it's hard for him because he doesn't know whether or not he's going to succeed. He knows that he has succeeded, and if you look at Gary Vee, those of you who watch his videos like I do on a regular basis, and you look at him now and you compare them with videos, and they're all available, they're all out there, but videos that he did and keynotes and presentations and speeches that he gave in 2014, 13, 11, 12. If you compare those old speeches to the speeches that he's giving today and the content that he's been producing out there today, he looks like a much different person. He's in much better shape and being in good physical health, not just looking good, but being in good physical health. That is so incredibly important for somebody like Gary Vee, who works 18 hours a day. And we know he works 18 hours a day because we see it. On the weekends, he totally shuts down. Those of you who follow him on social media, you don't really see him doing too much posting. Even on Snapchat, he doesn't really do a whole lot of posting on the weekends because he's with his family. And, however he's able to make that work, he's able to make that work because he's been married, for a while. And apparently his, he and his wife communicate, and they're able to work that thing out. I know that I personally could not do something like that. I could not work 18 hours a day and be in a successful marriage, and I'm going to guess that most people cannot. It takes It takes a different kind of person to be in a marriage with someone who works 18 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I just lost the point in saying that. What was I saying? Yes, I was saying that you can definitely see how different Gary Vee looks because of how closely he has worked with trainer Mike Vacanti over the past year, and that's just so important because the ability to be able to work 18 hours a day, 5 days a week, and still be able to have energy to be able to meet and to close deals with clients for his social media business, VaynerMedia. His ability to be able to do that is only because he's at a high level with his physical fitness. I know that I personally cannot do that, not because I would no longer be married, but because I'm physically unable to do that right now. I cannot work 18 hours any day, let alone 5 days a week, without without falling over and having to take a 2 or 3 hour nap. To be honest with you, I could not do it, not even one day. So for him to be able to do that 5 days a week consistently, that just speaks to the quality of work that his trainer has put in to him doing what he's doing. And so when people know the quality of your work and you're connected with somebody who is very well known, who is prominent, who is somebody who has a lot of name recognition in the entrepreneur space and name recognition all over the country. He's been, he's been on TV everywhere, and that's not what he's about necessarily, being on TV. But when people say the name Gary Vaynerchuk, people know what he's talking. People know who they're talking about. So when you leave out from under an umbrella like that, it's very easy to get scared. It's very easy to worry about what the future is going to hold for you. And I know that I've been in that place before, and I wonder if you've been in that place as well. It can be very difficult when you have a certain position, even if especially if that position is a high position, a position of prominence, a position of notoriety, and you leave that. What happens to you in the process? That's just something that that's something that we all have to think about, and I know that that's something that I've had to reflect on. Just in the name of transparency, I can remember back when the bishop had called me, and I've told this story in pieces. And one thing that you're going to find out over time, if you continue to watch Motivational Moments with Dr. Marcus every weekday, if you continue to follow me, if you continue to read my material, what's going to happen is you're going to see me tell this story over and over again in different pieces. You're going to hear me tell a lot of aspects in this story. And over time, it's going to crystallize into something where you're going to know the whole story because you've been with me long enough. You've walked this journey with me, and that is my prayer. That as you walk with me, you'll learn my story. You'll appreciate my story, and out of appreciation for that story, you'll be able to appreciate what I'm doing now and why I'm doing it. But anyway, I can think back to when the bishop had called me out of Canada, and he had called me to the church in Flint, from where I ended up resigning from pastoral ministry. Now, when I was taken out of Canada and assigned to Flint, I was, in addition to pastoring a church in Windsor, I was also the presiding elder of the Canadian Conference. And I was the youngest in the denomination, serving in that capacity at 29 years of age. And so that was something that I worried about, because even though from a financial standpoint, to be very honest, I was going to be making more money, and I did. I actually made more money at this church than I did being the pastor of a church in Canada and being the presiding elder over the entire Canadian Conference. Just the way that the pay structure was, it wasn't as much being a presiding elder in Canada as it is being one in Michigan or any of the other places or districts in the 4th Episcopal District. I don't want to get too jargony on anybody, but basically what I'm saying is that there was from a positional standpoint, it was a drop down to go down from being the youngest presiding elder to now going back and you're just a pastor again. It's easy in your mind to say just a pastor, even though we know how important the pastorate is, even though we know how important it is for churches to have capable leadership and for people to be led by a capable, a praying pastor. We know how important that position is in the kingdom, but it can still be looked at from a notoriety standpoint as just a pastor if you're no longer the presiding elder. And so that was a struggle that I had in my mind when I took that position. And I'm not going to say that struggle affected me, affected my ability to do my job or anything like that. I wouldn't say that at all. I think that there were some other struggles that I had there, but that was not one of them. But that was a legitimate concern that I had. It was a legitimate fear that I had. It was a legitimate thought that I had in my mind as I made that transition. And so I just wondering out loud today, have any of you experienced that particular fear of leaving a position of comfort, leaving something, and then having to think about, hey,
can you
know,
put my zip up?
Okay, here, Candace. Trying to talk to the people right now, but here. Candace, I'll fix it. I'll fix it in a minute. Okay?
No, I can do it.
No, Candace, I'll fix it in a minute. I'm almost done, all right? I'm almost done. But anyway, it's just something that that really concerned me as I made my transition, and I wonder if it's something that you've had to deal with as well. What have you done? What did you do when you were scared about leaving one position for something else that could have been potentially greater, or that was greater, but at first it was definitely hard? What did you do about it? Were you scared? How did you handle that situation? So I've really posed two questions to you in this broadcast, and I just pray that these are questions that you think about. Of course, these questions are also in the description to this video, and I would just love to hear your thoughts about them. I just want to give you something to think about today. My goal in every single one of these broadcasts, my goal in coming to you 5 days a week is to come to you with consistent content, with consistent source of encouragement, to just let you know that I'm here for you. I'm praying for you. I'm thinking about the things that you're thinking about. I'm praying that I'm talking about the things that you're thinking about, as far as leadership issues, as far as faith issues, as far as family issues, just the issues that matter in our lives. I want to be able to speak about those issues, and I want to be able to speak powerfully and empoweringly. That's not a word, empoweringly, but I want to speak with a level of empowerment about those particular issues, so that we can move forward on them, so you can see who I am, what I'm about, and that which God has given me to say and communicate, I'm getting that out there on a regular basis. And I also want to be able to give it to you real. Nothing that any. There's a lot of criticism that I've gotten for certain things over the years, but one thing that nobody's ever been able to criticize me about is about not being real. I've always been authentic, and I pray that you will think so, and that you will continue to consider what I'm doing and what I'm saying to be authentic. I always want to give it to you real, even if you think it's to my detriment, because I know no other way to be than authentic. I know no other way to be than real, and I know no other way to be than to give you all that I have. And I pray in doing so, and I pray in giving you all that I have, that you are blessed by it, that you can take some way. You, Candace, that you can take something away from what I'm able to give you on a daily basis. And so, the quote of the day, I just want to leave you with this. one of the greatest things that my late mom, Sadie Kyler, she died 13 years ago. One of the greatest things she ever told me was, even if you have to walk alone, even if you have to walk by yourself, even if you have to walk alone, but don't ever compromise on your principles. Don't ever compromise on your principles. Even if you have to walk alone, walk alone. Don't ever compromise on your principles. If you have to be square, be square. You know, that's what people of my mother's generation used to say back in the day. If you have to be square, but be true to who you are. All right, so that's what I'm going to leave you with today, and I'm going to leave you with my daughter's beautiful face today. My younger angel, Jada, is already at school. She's not out yet. She gets out next week. My baby girl got out of school last week, so she's with me right now. But anyway, thank you for spending a little bit of time with me, and I just pray that you are blessed and that you have a blessed rest of your day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.